What does it mean to be human? I've done a lot of philosophical clubs in the past and thought about this question a lot because I got into youth leadership very early, asking big questions, beginning with doubts, ending in certainties and truths. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of this question is the video I made on the greatest lie that our egos tell us. It's this belief in separation. We're separate from everything that surrounds us. We're disconnected from it. We're not a part of it. We're not connected. When I think of this question, instead of focusing on what separates us, what divides us, what we're not connected to, how we feel alone, disconnected, I try to focus on what connects us to everything. Easy to see differences and disconnect if we look at the surface, but if we look deeper, it's much more difficult to think about interconnectedness. The ability for us to love everything, to feel this wholeness with what is, to accept it, to realize that we are who we are, but at the same time we're much more than who we are. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I come back to his quote all the time, there's a video called The Most Astounding Fact, and he says that the universe is in us. When you feel that connection, when you feel that cosmic snuggie, to put it in fun terms, you really are connected and alive just by being alive. You want to feel connected and relevant, like you're a participant in goings-on of activities and events around you. And I think we kid ourselves because we start to believe that we aren't, when truly just by being alive, we are a part of the entire cosmic dance of stardust. One of the interesting things about humanity is our ability to share being, to look deeper than the surface. We have this high dimension of awareness and this balance of knowledge and experience that allows us to look deeper than the surface. Animals don't share that with us. They don't have that capacity to see being like we do. The other point is freedom and curiosity, the ability to be open to possibility, enjoy just being alive, dancing with life, to learn, to discover, again, that balance between knowledge and experience. Our ability to create stories. We have a tool that knows itself. The brain knows it's a brain. Brain knows the body is here. The brain knows so much, but that's only the knowledge part. It's sort of your mind and your being working together one by one, whichever one is in control, or whichever one you allow to be in control. But we're all stories, and that leads to a really wide variety of authenticity as a species. Like, we attach all these values, and you have this cultural diversity around the world of people expressing being in different ways or being joyful about different things, just because we only have so much breadth in how we can express things, but the depth is always there. But the breadth, the width at which we can express things, varies a bit. We can author our own lives. We have that ability to choose. Choice implies a high dimension of consciousness and awareness. The ability to be aware that you have a choice is what a choice implies. Animals don't really have that awareness. They can't choose. There's a stimulus and a response. They react to life. Maybe some of them have that capacity to choose. They can't quite communicate it with us, but maybe they do. And with this creation of stories sometimes rises expectation, which cannot always be healthy. But we humans tend to love to label things and give them expectations. Our ability to create meaning. It's not so much what it means to be human. There's probably some sort of interconnected, emerging truth in all of that. But the moment I label it, it sort of loses its true essence. I put an expectation on it when I label what it means to be human, because the very act of creating meaning is what it means to be human. You can create. It's not something that has to be found. Neil deGrasse Tyson says to learn is to become closer to nature, closer to what is, and closer to seeing things as they are instead of projecting some sort of mentality or some sort of view onto the world. Seeing things as they are and then letting it come to pass, just seeing it as it is and enjoying it instead of resisting it. It's such a joy to be able to create meaning. And with that creation of meaning, we get the we story, the story of humanity, the story of us as a whole species, working together sometimes and dividing ourselves and separating ourselves and fighting over very ridiculous things, it seems, at some point. That joy of creating meaning is freeing. You're here. The miracle of life is yours. It's yours to enjoy. With that ability to create meaning as a species, you get this collective synergy of humanity that we're starting to see because boundaries are being broken down with the internet and connecting with people and sharing and being empathetic and sympathetic and seeing different cultures, seeing what's constant in the variables of cultures. You can see through the cultural barriers. You can break down those language barriers. You can break down those appearance barriers. You can see to the depth and the being of all the people, because every human life has the same intrinsic value, even though the way we communicate and the way we express ourselves is different. That source of consciousness and whatever you really want to call it, I'm just making noise again, it's there. But this collective synergy gives momentum to humanity in a positive and a negative way, depending on how we want to use it, I guess. Science and technology has really guided us in breaking down those barriers and increasing the longevity and our health and decreasing disease and doing a lot of great things for our species. With this collective synergy, you have my favorite symbol, which is the yin and yang. You've got the good, you've got the bad, you got the good and the bad, you got the bad and the good, and then you have the whole thing, which is life. It's really the two. I don't know the exact story behind the symbol, but I want to share with you an idea of mine with this symbol. If what it means to be human is focusing more on what connects us to the universe instead of what separates us, because when we feel separated, we feel insignificant and not worthy, and we feel small. But when we feel connected and relevant and we engage with life, we understand that we're a part of the same process, and the universe is inside of us just as much as the universe is outside of us. We are a part of the process. We make the universe exactly as it is in the present moment. This symbol could represent separation and interconnectedness, those two mentalities lingering back and forth. You can't get rid of either mentality because there are two sides of the same coin, but you can strengthen one side over the other. An entirely solid white circle could mean integrity and that acceptance of what is, and that non-resistance, that ability to see everything as it is, and stardust, and not label it and judge it and fixate on it and make it something that it's not, make it permanent when it's impermanent. But there could be that like small dark center inside of the circle, which is the bad in the good, the darkness in the light, the unconsciousness in the consciousness, the unawareness inside of the possible awareness that you have. You could probably have a yin and yang symbol for every person. Capacity for awareness. The stories that we can create and our sense of time and progression, and our ability to work together and stand on the shoulders of giants. It's really cool. I don't know what it means to be human. It feels like something I already am, and something that the world sort of defines on me sometimes. I feel like no matter what the world tells you, how much you are human, how much you are not human, you are always human, even if the world doesn't think so. What does it mean to matter? What does it mean to matter as being a human? What expectations are placed on the label of being a human? There don't need to be any expectations, because by simply being alive, you are human. It means whatever you want it to mean. Keeping the awareness of that capacity to realize each other's humanness as you dance with stardust and just enjoy being.